Persistence is the bridge between struggle and success. That's a phrase you've probably heard before in some variation, but it's one thing to hear it, and it's another thing entirely to grasp it deeply enough that it transforms how you live. You see, life is structured in such a way that it constantly places obstacles in your path. It doesn't do this to punish you, but because the very act of moving through those obstacles transforms you into someone capable of handling the next level of responsibility. And that's what success really is, not some final prize you win at the end of the race, but the accumulation of responsibility, skill, and resilience that allows you to contribute meaningfully to the world. If you give up in the middle of the struggle, you never build that bridge, and so you never make it to the other side. You're left staring across a gap, wishing you could reach success, but unwilling to walk the difficult road required to build it. Now, persistence doesn't mean blind repetition. It doesn't mean banging your head against the same wall again and again, hoping the wall will magically disappear. That's futility. Persistence means learning while you keep going. It means that every single failure becomes an information point, a data set you can analyze to move forward with more wisdom than you had yesterday. The bridge between struggle and success is built out of trial and error, but also reflection and adaptation. And when you understand this, you begin to see failure differently. It's not an indication that you should stop. It's an indication that you're in the middle of a process that's designed to refine you. If you want to build something extraordinary, a career, a business, a relationship, even yourself, you cannot escape that process. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. The peak looks beautiful from afar, but the climb itself is grueling. You slip on rocks, you get cut by thorns, your body aches. At some point you think, why not turn back? Why not go down to the safety of the valley? But here's the problem. Every time you stop, every time you descend, you reinforce the belief that pain is to be avoided rather than endured. And that belief becomes a chain binding you to mediocrity. The climber who pushes forward, who persists despite exhaustion, discovers something crucial. The body adjusts, the mind sharpens, and eventually the peak comes into view again, closer than it seemed before. That moment only comes to the one who refuses to give up. But there's something deeper here. Persistence doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you are. Because when you persist, you're forced to confront parts of yourself you might prefer to avoid. Your laziness, yourself, doubt, your tendency to procrastinate. These are exposed in the fire of struggle. And then you have a choice. Either you quit and retreat into the comfort of ignorance, or you face those parts head on and slowly transform them. That's why people who persist through great difficulties often radiate a kind of strength that others admire. It's not just that they made it, it's that they became something more in the process. Think about it, most of us underestimate the power of consistency. We want breakthroughs, sudden victories, dramatic changes. But success in almost every domain is the byproduct of consistent persistence. Small acts repeated faithfully over time despite discouragement. If you go to the gym once, nothing happens. But if you go persistently for 6 months, the transformation is visible. If you study a language for a single day, it's useless. But if you persist for a year, you've built a skill that can alter your opportunities for the rest of your life. Persistence is the multiplier of effort. It compounds just like interest in a bank account until suddenly the results are undeniable. And yet, persistence is uncomfortable. That's why so few people practice it. Quitting is always easier in the short term. That's what makes persistence so rare and valuable. It's the very discomfort, the resistance you feel, that signals you're in the territory where growth occurs. If it was easy, persistence wouldn't be required. So when you encounter difficulty, rather than interpreting it as a sign you're on the wrong path, consider it as proof you're exactly where you need to be. The bridge between struggle and success is not a smooth high. It's a rough, uneven path that requires your full attention and your unwavering resolve. Now let's move to the second point. Belief in yourself is the fuel for resilience. Without belief, Persistence collapses. You can endure difficulty for a while out of obligation or because of pressure from others, but when the nights get long, when the pain intensifies, when no one is clapping for you, belief in yourself is the only thing that keeps you moving. And belief is not some blind optimism, nor is it arrogance. True belief in yourself is the recognition that, although you are not everything you could be yet, you have the capacity to grow, to improve, to adapt. It's the conviction that no matter how bleak things look, you have within you the ability to learn and rise. You see, life is a psychological game as much as it is a physical one. If you tell yourself, "I can't," you collapse before the battle begins. If you tell yourself, "I can endure this," you unlock energy reserves you didn't even know existed. Belief changes your posture, your decisions, your perseverance. Think about athletes who compete at the highest levels. Physically, many of them are quite similar. What separates the great from the good is often mental, the ability to believe under pressure that they can still succeed. The moment doubt overtakes them, their performance falters. Belief sustains them when their muscles are failing, when the scoreboard looks hopeless, when the critics are loud. And that's no different from your life. Whether it's building a business, finishing a degree, repairing a relationship, or writing a book, your external environment will test you, but your internal belief determines whether you push through or give up. There's a psychological phenomenon called learned helplessness. It occurs when individuals repeatedly face setbacks and begin to internalize the idea that nothing they do will change the outcome. They stop trying altogether. This is what happens to many people in life. They fail a few times and they conclude, "I'm just not capable." They give up not because they are actually incapable, but because they stop believing they can improve. Belief is the antidote to helplessness. It interrupts the cycle by saying, "Yes, I failed, but I can learn. Yes, I fell, but I can rise." That shift is monumental. It reopens the possibility of growth. Belief also has a contagious quality. When you believe in yourself, others begin to sense it, and that often invites opportunities that wouldn't appear otherwise. People are drawn to confidence, not because it guarantees perfection, but because it communicates stability in the midst of chaos. A leader who believes in themselves inspires followers. A teacher who believes in their ability to help inspires students. A parent who believes in their role inspires children. Your belief creates ripples that extend far beyond you. But belief is fragile. It must be nurtured. Doubt creeps in constantly, through criticism, comparison, failure. That's why belief cannot simply be a fleeting feeling. It must be rooted in evidence you create for yourself. Every time you persist and achieve something small, you provide proof that you can handle more. Those proofs accumulate into a bedrock of belief. When your mind says you can't, you can look back and say, "But I already have many times before." That's how belief grows, not from empty affirmations, but from the lived experience of resilience. So persistence and belief are not separate. They are interdependent. Persistence without belief eventually burns out, and belief without persistence remains untested. Together, they form the foundation of resilience. The bridge between struggle and success is built plank by plank through persistent effort, and the nails that hold those planks in place are your belief that the bridge will hold, that it's worth crossing, and that you are capable of making it to the other side.